For me to return here again, this is to stand in solidarity with the officers here, the volunteers here, civil society here, the press who have come here for months, condemn what has happened here in Shakahola forest. On today's occasion, we've been able to concluded last week, and right now between phase 1 and phase 2 we have a total death toll of 200 of graves that are unopened in this forest, and our teams are doing a great job. I would like to emphasize that we homicide directorate or unit are doing a good job. They are observing the laws of our country, and they are also, but this is basically an exercise that we are leading ourselves, and we have told our friends when need be, they are doing a great job. So we don't know, again, unfortunately we don't know how long this will take, but as soon as we are satisfied that we need we do the things in the manner in which we have done it in the past, methodically, scientifically, procedurally, within the law, and also so that the whole truth on what happened here on our soil. We have nothing to hide, and we will share the truth as much as we take stock of the lessons that we can pick from this terrible incident to ensure that a matter like this is never recorded again in our country. Secondly, we have been able to graves, and that process is ongoing well. As I've said, it is progress, and also to aid the search for graves. A decision has been taken to open thematic, scientific, and final manner. As I promised on behalf of government, we will not leave any of our people in this forest, whether they are dead or they are alive. We will get them. And for that to happen, we have been supported, and the multi-agency teams here, we've been supported by the Kenya Defence Forces to open enough security roads, and therefore one of the things we've done with my colleagues here is to go and oversee that process of opening up of security roads within this ranch, so that we can have a systematic search and rescue for victims and for of time. But as I said, complex crimes of this nature and this magnitude cannot be processed instantaneously. They require time. And even where there have been international crimes of this nature in other countries, it has taken time even for the first suspect to be charged in court. And therefore, we have, as a policy, we have directed that the process, the legal process, must be done methodically and conclusively. And we will apply the relevant legal provisions to hold the primary suspect as long as it is possible under the law, to make sure that we prepare for the case. And part of that preparation involves concluding the search and rescue for victims of this crime, and also the search and rescue for those victims who succumbed to death as a result of this brutal attack on humanity. So that exercise commences today. Again, we do not know. In the meantime, the search and rescue continues. We have not recorded many instances of rescue in the last few days, and we suspect that the number of victims who could be alive could be diminishing, and I want to commend the search and rescue team for doing a great job And up to now, we've been able to save 95 lives, which would have been lost if it was not for the teams that have been combing this forest on land, sometimes using aerial equipment like drones, day and night. I'm grateful that at least 29 people who would have died in the hands of these criminals have been rescued. And many of them are recuperating, they are stabilizing. Some of them, about 19, have been reunited with their families. They may not have been released yet because we need to stabilize them, and they need also to assist us with investigations, but at least 19 of those 95 who have been rescued have been reunited with their families. We have also continued to profile those that succumbed to death by collecting DNA samples, and we've collected 93 DNA samples so far. And I want of DNA examinations and the processing of the results of DNA takes a little bit of time, but we are almost there in terms of providing a process, and it cannot be processed instantaneously. Besides that, this afternoon, we've also received the progress report of the investigations, especially the investigations surrounding those that we consider to be the most responsible offenders and perpetrators of the heinous crimes against humanity and other serious crimes that have been committed here in Shakahola. We've made good progress in that front. Our investigative agencies have assured us that we have a proper case: genocide, crimes against humanity, extermination, murder, and all other crimes that are in our country. We are going to have a prosecution by our local judicial institutions of international crimes. And therefore, we are giving effect to a number of our laws that have not been tested locally before. Analyzes genocide, crimes against humanity, extermination, and all those crimes that I've mentioned. Number two, will be implementing the Rome Statute of the International Criminal Court, Articles 6 and 7 on genocide and crimes against humanity, because that in our soil, the International Crimes Act, and also other laws which we have prosecuted successfully before, including the Prevention of Terrorism Act. And it's just a matter of time before Mr. Mackenzie and his collaborators face their destiny in our courts. We have in this case. We must convict, we must prosecute and have convicted Mr. Mackenzie and his collaborators. And for that reason, we are working extremely hard. I want to congratulate the investigators who are working in a multi-agency format in this prosecution-led investigations within the laws of our country to make sure that this case is won. It must be won. And for all those who are family members and victims of this crime, the assurance I give you is the assurance that the government of Kenya will bring to book and will convict the perpetrators of what has happened here in Shakahola. So we've had, again, as I've said, an update on where we are on the investigations. Allow me, before I end my remarks, to say two other things. One, What has happened here is not a small matter. It's not a small matter for Kenya. It's not a small matter for humanity all over the world. What has happened here is a grave outrage on humanity. And for that reason, the scene of crime where this most horrendous criminal work has been carried out can never be again reverted to normal and ordinary human activity. And for that reason, ones that may be given by the judiciary, the scene of crime will be taken over as a national memorial. Therein, government, in consultations with the members of the public, including the local community, so that many, many generations to come, many centuries into the future, Kenya and the world will never forget that there was this kind of outrage on humanity here in Shakahola. This is not a place that can be ranching and to other human activities, because the souls of our brothers and sisters, adults and children that we've lost here require much more dignity than that. We will be making a decision on what it will be useful, what has happened to humanity from here in Shakahola. The second and last point that I want to make is that once we shall, in consultation again with the members of the public, including the local community, we shall be calling for a national religion and every faith and the leadership of our country at all levels converge here and stand in solidarity with our people whom we have lost in this manner, and the local community and the country, and make a pronouncement in solidarity with the victims of this egregious crime from here. And that presided over by men and women of faith from various religions, so that we can also be able to damage that some people would want to visit on the different religions we have in this country, by crooks and criminals and thugs who have been hiding behind scriptures of different religions, and criminals who are hiding behind religion to defile religion. Yet we know religion as communities, yet we have a few crooks, 0.01%, who use religion to do the hapa apata kuwa mahali pa kawaida tena. Mahali hapa patakuwa walikuja hapa wakasababisha vifo vya nafsi nyingi sana, akina mama na watoto wadogo. Kwa hivyo serikali itafanya kumbukumbu katika sehemu hii na itapa makumbusho ya yale ambayo yalitendeka hapa, ambayo ni makosa ya jinai. Na mwisho tumesema ya kwamba wananchi na jamii ya hapa tutafanya ibada maalum ya ambayo itaongozwa na viongozi wa dini tofauti tofauti ambazo ziko katika nzuri ya watu wengi wa dini ambao wamefanya mambo mema katika jamii yetu. Kwa hivyo mimi nimefurahi kuwa wamezikwa katika makaburi katika msitu huu wa Shakahola. Tumefungua hiyo awamu ya kufungua barabara. Nashukuru vikosi vyetu hata taarifa kuhusu upelelezi, na tuko na uhakika tuko wale washukiwa ambao mata watahukumiwa. Na nimesema hii ni kesi ya kipekee, na serikali ya Kenya kupitia via za kimataifa ambazo kwa mujibu wa katiba yetu ni baadhi ya sheria ambazo zinatumika hapa nchini. Asanteni sana. If there is one question I can take.
Some clarification on the relocation. 500 and 200 acres. Maybe can you explain?
Now we suggest that Mr. Mackenzie's activities of killing people and burying them may have extended beyond the 800 acres from where he was operating. And therefore, we are looking actually technically at the entire 50,000 acres of Chakama Ranch, but particularly based on the evidence we have, we might restrict the initial scrutiny on approximately 37,000 acres, where evidence that perhaps Mr. Mackenzie would have extended his criminal activities beyond the initial 800 acres. On the issue of the blocks, as I have said, every 100 acres will be turned into one block. As we go further, we may expand that to 200, maybe to 500, depending again on the evidence of either human activity or any disturbance that suggests that we could be having evidence as we go further from the Mackenzie, the initial place where Mackenzie had concentrated his criminal activities. Last one. Yes, sir.
Yeah, my name is Alphonse Gary. I was asking Banawaziri, you, as the state, you said you have a strong case against Mackenzie and his guys. Why did it take so long for the government to know all these activities in the forest?
One, on the statement I made yesterday, which I want to repeat here, we will get Mackenzie and his collaborators convicted. On the why I said that he will stay in prison forever is because I am aware the kind of punishment that is given. So he will not see the light of day. He will stay there for the remainder of his life, and then he can go and account for after. So I can say that without any fear of contradiction. On the second issue, I think we have repeated this, but it's not, perhaps what happened here should not have happened. And he did apologize and say, since some of these activities go back to 3, and I took cue from the president and said, as the Minister for Security, I also apologize, because I also said, which I want to repeat here, that in terms of bringing to account those who caused this, brought to account, even if it's a public official, even if it's a security officer, so the accountability bit is the saving grace. But I also gave the tightening of the legal, policy, institutional, and procedural structures is done in such a way that it will not happen again. And if this doesn't change Kenya and the way we handle our national security, I don't think anything else will ever. The team leader of the Operation Okoa Maisha, Regional Commissioner Rhoda Onyancha, will give you the usual briefs at 5 p.m. There will be any bodies today, whether we have any rescues, etc., in the normal way. And every other day, they'll be able to give you an update, and they'll also be able to allow 1 or 2 representatives from the media to go and be with the teams with the limitations which we said, because we want to protect the victims and also protect the legal process because of medical ethics.